No, I have nothing. It's been pretty quiet.
I don't have anything under the district manager's report. I believe TJ has some photos he'd like to go through with the board.
This photo is just where somebody tore down the berm and went into their property here. These photos I couldn't, they're not, this isn't moving. Is it-
Start
Okay.
here and then should be able to.
All right, there we go. This person here, as you can see, I was going through the gate, and this person was doing some grading and was coming up behind me. And I got out of the truck and brought my camera and started taking pictures. You can see as.
Why would anybody have any reason to be grading out there?
Nobody should. We're the only ones that should be doing anything to any of these works.
And do you know where he was going?
Well, he turned the corner. This was right where you hit in the back of the north section of the properties out there, not to the west of Hungryland, but the north of it. And he was on the outside berm right before you hit Hungryland. That gate I was going through was going into Hungryland to go around to the west. And he apparently he was a landowner. I said, well, who you doing this for? I asked him what was going on here, and I said, you're not supposed to be grading this. This is why all this damage is out here is because of grading. And he says, well, other people who own lots in here, they do grading out here and this and that. I said, well, PalMar don't want you grading. So I got his name. I tried to get a picture of him, and he just, once the camera came out, I don't know if this was a serial number on the tractor. I walked around because they're registered like cars, I guess, I don't know. But he just kept looking away. He didn't want, he said his name was Dave. That's all the information I got. He wouldn't give me a last name, wouldn't, as soon as this is like when the camera came out, when he was on the tractor, he just turned away.
He knows he's not doing the right thing.
And this is him turning the corner right next to Hungryland after I told him we didn't want that going on out there. Well, you all don't want, this is just, I'm not out there to argue with people. I just tell them what's going on.
Is that a guardrail?
Yeah, that's Hungryland.
Yeah.
That's the property line of Hungryland. When I ride around the berm of the outside of that, the levee, on the north side where I come in off of Pratt Whitney Road, I come around that north side and that's the levee. I ride the canals up and down and then I come out and I have to go through that gate that was,
Also, TJ, go back, is that a fire in front of this tractor?
no, that's just a mud hole.
No,
Right.
right there, in the upper left-hand corner, it looks like smoke.
No. Right here, that's his tractor.
No,
Yeah, I
go
see
back
it.
to that.
That's an old tractor.
Go back to that picture, please. Nope, stop. If you look
Yeah, I see it.
over his left shoulder,
Yeah, there wasn't no
That looks
fire
like
out
smoke.
there that I saw. That could have been coming, see where his muffler's at on top of
Yeah.
the tractor, coming out of the front? There wasn't no fire out there. And there's camps out there, but they're more or less over to the left. But I looked up the property owners down there because I've seen those tracks when they graded before out there. But I didn't ever go down that fire cut. I had my side by side and I rode down it. And people who was named David, they had trespassed, so I didn't go on their property. I just went down that fire cut. And it was so wooded, I couldn't see. I was looking to see where that tractor went to. But that was on about a week or two later, and I didn't see where it was going, and I wasn't going across somebody's posted signs, or I'd heard it for, everybody there's got a camera on their property.
Yep. TJ, just one quick question back there. Where the road turns to the left, that is going from our prescriptive easement onto a private trail?
It's a fire that, Hungry Land did a fire cut all the way around their property. And it's turned into, it used to be just a fire cut. I never drove down. Now it's been graded, it's a road.
So that's on South Florida Water Management District property or on a private
Well, I'd have to be
landowner?
surveyed. That gate there's not really, if you go to the aerials to the tax collectors,
Yeah, the
it could, those lines are fuzzy. But I'm a landowner out there. I'm just like you, I'm just like Lou, I'm just like Zach. I can go wherever I want out there, just as long as I'm not crossing a trespassing sign. So I'm doing my job out there, and that's just the way it is. I got property out there that people drive right through the middle of it. But, I'm not out there whining about it because everybody wants to put a gate out there on the water and put a no trespass and put a gate there and this and that. I'm not going in there. But if I'm going down a road, you're getting to a point where it shouldn't get to. Here's where a truck or something ran off into the canal on the very north berm, the levee going around. A buddy of mine sent me a video on my phone, which I believe I accidentally deleted, where a buggy pulled the truck out of that canal, but you can see all the garbage from the bed of the truck in the canal there. And this is because of, the road's narrower there, and people just, person who was coming the other way didn't give him, it looks like, the right of way, because the person on the canal always has the right of way. All right. This here, I went out there and there's 3 dead alligators. They looked like they were, and a dead buzzard. And they looked like they were shot with a .22. And I made a report with FWC. I called them, let them know, and I took, the FWC officer called me, wanted to know where they were, and I took a picture of my aerials and where they were at, and never heard nothing more about it. But I reported it. See, this alligator here, I flipped it over right here. You can see he was shot with a small caliber gun, because it was only about a 3-foot alligator, and it would, if it was a high-powered rifle, it'd have blew his whole head out. Now, I got a friend of mine who sent me an email, and he told me about this here, what was on Facebook. He sent this to me. And this was Monday night at 7. This Monday, it just went by, was on Monday night. And I just drove through there Sunday doing my patrol, but I never got to the point what was taken care of.
Quick interjection here. Yeah, this is social media, and are we allowed to post this publicly? Is it public
I don't know.
domain, or is it
I'm not-
Yeah, I mean, we might kind of
I
create
don't
some
know.
kind
I
of
don't
problem
know.
if one of these guys' names on here is,
Well, this is
Yeah.
what was sent to me.
yeah.
So I went out there Tuesday, and I went into gate 2. Instead of going into this gate, I went to the other one. There's a lake over there, and I backed up there about 7:15 to see if I could see anybody going in with heavy equipment or something. I sat there for about an hour and a half. And then I just went ahead and drove into that gate there, went around the canal to come back around. And I rode the whole half there. I didn't really see no grading till I came back to this section, what was a mile of the levee coming off of Pratt Whitney Road. And you can see where it's been widened out even more. It's, you can see where it's all dug up and this and that. And every time this is done, it's really doing damage to it, you know, because it's lowering our levee. When I did my job out there, I had to go around fixing washouts and holes, and I brought a loader in there. And instead of dragging everything around, I had that loader haul the dirt from the overburden, you know, because I wasn't gonna do this where you just go through there and dig it down. And I called FWC on this, Reiner, who was here. I called him and he said, this easement is all tied up in court and they're, you know, and he says there's nothing they could do, so I did my due diligence, you know, and I'm just letting you know I'm just doing my job. I think this is
appreciate
my
it.
job.
I guess the question is to our attorney, what power do we have?
Well, so it depends on the specific location, obviously, and it depends on the grant of easement, what that allows for. Now, if there's damage to if it's a district asset and there's damage to it, then the district has rights to go after legally the person or persons who caused the damage. Finding those folks, finding out who they are is another thing. That's, you know, I do think that getting that survey, I know it's going to be very costly, but I think that is a huge step forward in the district's effort to protect its assets going forward. At least you have that. You know, with what we have right now, it's a little tenuous here and there. But, you know, TJ, to the extent he can document the folks who are causing this damage, find out, you know, I mean, pictures tell 1,000 words. So, and if there's enough that the district wants to go after somebody who caused the damage, they can do that.
Thank you.
I didn't witness it happening. I just went out there to see what was happening, and I have everything written down day by day, what I do out there, who I talk to, if I talk to anybody. If I don't talk to nobody, I write it down.
Appreciate it.
I got one
Just one
question.
comment.
The first picture you got right here, a little clarification, you said that's where they tore down the berm.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a spoil pile.
Yeah.
Yeah, spoil pile, not the perimeter
No,
berm.
not the berm, it's a spoil pile.
Thank you.
It's just like all over the place where somebody bought land on the other side of that, somebody's come in and just pushed the spoil pile in and just made it their own trail and put a gate across there, and it's, you know, I don't know if they're flying in, they don't understand they're crossing probably 200 or 300 lots to get to their lot, you know?
Just one comment, perhaps more to legal, would be by smoothing these roads, somebody is facilitating access to private properties from the district easements. Do we have any liabilities or concern, for people that use our easements to illegally or questionably access other private properties, destroy them, drive too fast, injure themselves, et cetera? What, if anything, should we be doing to protect ourselves from the liabilities that occur and preserve the works?
Yeah, that's a very the answer to that would be complicated. But look, if it's a district-owned asset, and it is, and somebody is injured on that, then there's liability there. You know, whether somebody is going to win in court is a different, you know, who knows? It depends on the circumstances. But generally speaking, you know, the more these berms and levees are improved for more vehicular access, at higher speeds, whatever the case may be. Is there liability there? I think so. I think there is.
One other thing, to borrow a term from Florida statutes regarding easements, by the activities being open, notorious, et cetera, might we be eventually, by not doing anything, might this become an easement? Might it become some sort of easement by way of, what is a necessity? Is it a,
Typically not if it's over, government property.
good,
Madam Chair,
Government easement.
Yes, sir.
if I could point out that this particular area is covered by an easement that's not only dedicated to PalMar, but it's also dedicated to the public, which makes it no different than Seminole Pratt Whitney Road. Everybody can use it.
depending on the court's interpretation of what that happens to be, yeah.
I think that was a mistake that was made, not intentionally, but it's there.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, I just want to point out that we keep calling these roads, they're not roads. There's not a road in there. They are easements, they are levees, they are berms, and they are, in many cases, assets of the district. So TJ sees this guy grading our asset, harming it, and I think if we had the desire that he just harmed our asset. He's lowering the levy, therefore for harming the district's asset. So I think if we catch these people, we prosecute. You got a photo.
Yeah, but I don't, all he would give me is his first name, and once the camera came out, it was like, it was like,
can certainly
nobody's
understand
gonna
why.
talk to me, and I'm not gonna try to, do the, law enforcement's job,
Sure.
I'm not gonna act like a cop because that's not my job.
That's not your job, nor
It's
do you want to
just
get into
show
it in the
you What's
process.
going on.
We appreciate it.
But if we let these people get away with this
I-
crap,
I
then they're going to
agree.
keep doing it. They're going to encourage other people to go in there with their tractors and grade more and more and more, causing more and more damage to the district's assets. So I think that at some point we have to respond instead of just turning the other cheek.
Well, we're gonna have a 2 or 3 day rain one time, and it's gonna go over the
Yeah,
top of
yeah.
our asset. Because it's like that first time I brought this issue to you, I showed where there's no levee there no more. It's all been graded down. And as far as, like I was saying about fixing the holes, I'd rather have these people go slow out there than to whip, if you
Well, there
if you
should
give
be-
them a flat spot, they're gonna go.
TJ, hold on one second. There should be no one out there doing anything to these areas.
No.
And they're, again, they are not roads. And I think if there is someone on doing any kind of improvement, then law enforcement needs to be called. It is the works of the district. It is our property. We are responsible for its care. No one else is. So what is our authority? And I'm looking at our attorney.
This is Michael Houston, Senior Project Manager for Martin County. I just want to make a point. It appears that some of that grading work was being done in Hungryland Wildlife Management Area,
And I have reported it.
and that should be always reported to FWC law enforcement, who would, in that case, enforce or would be subject to enforcement by FWC law
I
enforcement.
called Ron, I talked to him, he said, right now they're tied up in a lawsuit about the easement there, and I reported it.
Well, I would think that if somebody is actually doing work to the access road,
Yeah.
then that would be a different matter than if somebody is just driving back and forth through the wildlife management
Yeah.
area. Because that is impacting resources that are the purview of FWC. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, all of this is outside of Hungryland. This is all in private lands.
Well, this section is part of Hungry Land.
The first 1 mile.
The
Is
first
it-
1 mile And that's what was done, was the first 1 mile. When I go out there, and I always go to the middle of the whole area. I'll go to the right, go to the west one day, then the following day I'll go to the other way. And I always usually drive right up to the corner of that right there where it goes there. And that's where I turn around and go back.
So-
And that's if I'm riding my side-by-side. If I'm riding my truck, I drive all the way around and out there.
Just for point of clarity, yeah, the first 1 mile was shown as
Yeah.
being graded, and then the last, say, 600 yards in your photo, which is easements across property owners, was also being graded. And that is, count the lots,
This
I don't
time
know,
it
is there,
wasn't Only the first mile. This time, it was just the first mile.
where you show the left turn at the gate?
Oh, well, back there, he just did probably a couple hundred yards.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he did right there at that corner
Yeah,
and there.
there's a 200-yard
Yeah.
or a 100-yard
Yeah.
section that was also graded
Yeah.
across private properties.
Yeah.
Or, well, they're all property owners'
Yeah.
property, whether it's the state or an individual, yeah.
Well, see, if I could get a sheriff out there or an FWC out there reporting it, they could get the full name of who's doing it. But, I can't, I just, and I went over all this with the lawyer about getting law enforcement.
One last comment, and then I'm going to just let this go for the time being, but you did bring up social media, and I will say whether it is.
Well, I
But it's-
won't do that.
no, that's okay,
She
but-
knew I had it on there.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Didn't say nothing to me, so.
In a general sense, whether it happens to be Facebook,
Yeah.
TikTok, YouTube, et cetera, with just a tiny bit of research, you will find examples of what we would consider unacceptable behavior on district works time and time and time again. And with that, you will find complaints from property owners that they don't want to see their properties used that way. And when that access comes from the district, I have some concerns. Maybe nobody else does. Maybe we're legally okay. But when somebody uses a district right-of-way to pull into a slough and turn it into a dead mud hole, I am insulted, and I am, I feel like,
Aggravated, frustrated.
yeah, what can I do about this?
And by the way,
As far as that Facebook, my buddies told me, who has land, he says, man, you gotta get on Facebook and hear what these people say.
Well, we are
I
a
mean,
landowner,
everybody
maybe
out
we
there
should
seems
get
to
on
be-
this.
we are landowners. And by the way, social media has no expectation of privacy, so
No.
none.
I mean, I just,
So pictures are still encouraged as long as he's taking pictures of the works of the
Absolutely.
district, people on the works of the
Taking
district.
pictures of works, which one is mine?
Good, you're on.
Okay. Pictures of vehicles on doing destruction to works of the district are perfectly acceptable. And that is probably what we would need if we were going to bring law enforcement in there to enforce it and protect the works of the district. And with that, I think we've had enough discussion on this. Perfect. All right.
Can I just- Mr.
Any more
Camaras-
comments?
Mr. Camaras, can I have an email of all these pictures sent to me, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Please just circulate that to the board.
Thank you. That brings us to administrative matters. The financial report is in your books on page 24. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer. If there are none, I would move on to page 25, which would be consider the invoices, and I would look for a motion to approve the invoices.
May I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Motion passes.
Great. Landowner items would be our next section. I believe this is where landowners come up to speak. Is that how this normally works?
Yep.
Okay,
They have maximum of 3 minutes.
okay.
Hello again. You need me to state my name or anything?
Please.
Sure.
Zach Gaza, landowner. I would like to caution the board members.
You always want to caution us on something.
These are my 3 minutes. Can I start that clock over?
Nope. Keep going. We'll give you a couple seconds at the end.
I would like to caution the board members especially you, Commissioner Marino, to have a better understanding.
Bring it on.
So what do we do, council?
I'm allowed to interrupt you.
Keeps interrupting. Is there anything on that?
Nope.
Keep getting interrupted?
No, but your clock's ticking.
I would like to caution the board members, especially Commissioner Marino, to be aware of where the works of the district actually are. What is a work of the district and what is not a work of the district. Your engineer can help you with that. I think a survey would help with that even more. But there were some pictures that were on works of the district, I believe, and some that were not. There are two sets of easements. There are a set of easements that lay out the works of the district, and there's a set of easements that lay out other easements that are not works. So I think that if the board had a better understanding of what was what, and then maybe TJ could take pictures and pinpoint them on that map, so when you're looking at these pictures, you could see where they are and if it is a work of the district or if it's not. And also I'd caution the board and its agents to not interfere with landowners exercising their statutory right of maintenance to their easements. I'm done. Thank you.
Are there any other landowners that wish to speak? If not, we have one comment from the public for items not on the agenda. We have Linda Smith.
Good morning. Linda Smith, Jupiter, Florida, for the record. Sierra Club Loxahatchee Group Executive Chair, representing Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, Okeechobee members and supporters. I publicly thank the Martin County Commissioners for their resolution on the January 9th purchase of 252 acres in the PalMar area for conservation purposes. It was worth the drive just to say thank you, and I want to also thank you, the PalMar supervisors. I understand Palm Beach County also purchased some land in PalMar areas, so thank you. I would like to suggest an idea from Bob Berman, and I don't think he's here anymore, for swapping land between private owners and public land to create larger pockets of conservation that would be more effective. I think this has been looked at the past. Maybe we can look at it again. I would also like to request work on informing current and future owners of existing restrictions on PalMar private, their private lands. I think people, you have to manage their expectations. They don't know maybe what they should. Future owners, particularly out-of-state folks, aren't going to do the adequate zoning research, and you could possibly even extend this to other land purchases, whether it refers to a permanent trailer or a semi-tractor truck in agricultural zoning. I would like to hope individuals would do due diligence, but often they rely on the real estate agent or the current owners. Both entities have a vested interest in possibly inadvertently leaving out details. I understand this may not be something within the flood control district, but you are leaders in other venues as well, and might be able to influence the folks that are more clearly responsible for these kinds of suggestions. And I think it would benefit from a collaborative effort with your board and other boards in order to make that happen. I appreciate seeing PalMar in the papers now. I think people need to be informed of the great area of PalMar, and that's a great thing. And thank you for your time and indulgence. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Are there any other comments from the public for items not on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on to board member comments.
Kevin?
Thank you. Just to touch on something Linda said, personally as a landowner, before I was involved with the board, one day I looked on the PalMar site and saw these lovely easement maps that showed yellow lines going everywhere through PalMar, extending from our access easements and our actual district works easements. there was a tremendous amount of confusion there, and the implication was that, hey, we can drive anywhere. So whether we specifically state policies that would help people understand, what is acceptable or not, that's one thing. And then secondly, would be careful about what we put on the site that would have other implications. With that said, I believe we were going to have some maps removed from the site, and I don't know what the progress has been on that.
I'll answer that. I think it's in Ruth's court to see what should be removed from the webpage. I know Michael had done what he thought was right. And then he ended up saying, well, I got to leave everything alone until Ruth gets a chance to review it. I threw the ball in your court.
Madam Chair, do you want me to respond to that?
Please.
So there were some items that are on the website that I was going to talk with SDS, the district manager, about whether or not they need to be there. But those maps in particular, I don't know the accuracy of those maps. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the survey is going to go a long way to determine that. And I recall those maps were created by Bob Berman in his realtor capacity. So, I mean, I've made no, I've never shied away from saying that those maps ought to be taken down until and unless they are proven to be accurate. So, I mean, the fact that they're still up there, I think, Madam Chair, if there was board direction to the district manager to take them down until and unless they're determined to be accurate, I think that would be a good thing to do to eliminate the confusion.
One map that Commissioner Cutting is talking about was prepared by Gian Jensen, who is a former engineer for PalMar. I have found that map to be very accurate as to PalMar easements. Now, the crisscross roads that he's referring to, back when lots were being sold, it was a requirement to provide legal access. And so those roads were dedicated for that.
Those easements.
Easements, yes.
Those easements.
Yeah.
I do not want to hear the word road.
And then there was also a requirement to provide funds to TIF to physically construct those roads. Now, that fund
Easements.
was sitting there for a long time with the state until the landowners decided, let's go ahead and grab hold of those funds and distribute it to the existing landowners. So that was the fatal blow, so to speak, on ever seeing anything getting constructed. Nowadays, the law is different. Listing a lot for sale, you've got to show that there is at least some form of trail to provide access, plus legal. But anyway, that's the history on it all.
We as a district have to provide some access?
No. The map that he was referring to, it's got the PalMar easements on it by OR book and page. And I've not found any, and I've got that big book, which is also the recorded easements to PalMar and the public roads.
You call them intended easements, perhaps, or implied. Never, one argument is they were never recorded. They don't mean anything. So, again, if we're putting disinformation out there and we're showing a path, just get rid of it. That's all.
I agree.
I would agree also.
Okay. So to be clear, you're directing me to take down the maps from the website.
Correct.
Got it.
All maps?
Which, but not all. Which one, Ruth, which ones are we keeping?
I would have to pull up the website right now to determine that, but there's nothing in 298, in Chapter 298 or Chapter 189 that requires that, the maps on a website for a water control district. Is that right, Bob?
Yeah, that is true, but the site was to distribute useful information to the landowners and the board.
I would offer a motion that we remove all maps until we've had such time as to review, redraw, properly document the information we wish to make publicly available.
Second, I completely agree. Until we can determine that they're accurate, let's don't put misleading information on our website. And it sounds like we have some misleading information.
Well, we have a motion.
Inaccurate.
Second. And is there any more discussion? Is there any more discussion?
Just a little bit, like G and Jensen, that's an established or was an established firm. It seems like we should leave something there to provide public information, even if we leave only that map and put a disclaimer with it about its accuracy.
But isn't that the one that you said had the TIF-funded funds in there for
Yeah,
improvements? And we no longer have it, so it's no longer accurate.
There is a more simplified district boundary map, as I remember.
yeah, there's several different, but
Again, let's just
that one
remove them
map,
all until we review.
that one map is keyed to the easement book,
Yes,
which sits this high.
yeah.
And I found it to be fairly accurate.
Oh, and tremendous historical value to what was implied or intended by a developer way back when. But that's about all I would say it's worth, is what some developer had at one time intended. What was actually left and documented, again, is still questionable.
Well, I think I'll bring this to a close.
Thank you.
We do not have any obligation to put those maps on our website, and until the time that we know of their accuracy, I think they need to be taken down. And I think we have a motion and a second on the table for that. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Lou, any comments?
Not a bit.
I'm set.
I'm good.
I have none, so it is 11, no, I can't read that, 10:37? Oh, my heavens. Oh, wait a second, before we adjourn, we have on our books that we have a meeting in March. Does the board feel that we have enough to do?
We going to have survey information by then?
The survey RFQ will be ready by March.
Yeah.
Okay, if we have the RFQ, then we,
Can that be posted for review in March without, and with any public, without a meeting?
My understanding is the board has to accept and approve the RFQ so that we can post it publicly.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is we'll probably need a month to discuss it, so present the information in March and then move voting to the next meeting.
okay, so we'll keep the March meeting on the books then. And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you very much, all.
Thank you.